Morning, everybody. Yeah, it's still morning. Coming off the Indiana game, there was some growth. I use that term. I like the way we kind of dealt with some adversity. We didn't have. They missed a trip call. There's a flagrant foul. Before in different times, those have led to big runs. We kind of handled the crowd, and then I thought stayed very matter of fact with our game plan in the second half. And I thought we executed very well. I thought defensively, we just maintained and kept doing us. All in all, pretty solid effort and pleased. Now we move to a team that is extremely efficient on the offensive end. They've got a lot of weapons. They've obviously got the size guys that can score the ball, and Ivy's turned into guy that is in go mode. They're letting him play a lot more. They're giving him the ball. They're isolating him more. He's a guy that against Ohio State hits a game winner. So he's a very talented guy. Obviously, Sasha's been around for some time and really hurt us in the first game. They do a lot of things very, very well on the offensive end, and they're a handful. They're going to score points, and we've just got to try to make those as difficult as we can, and understand that they're going to hit some shots and not get discouraged with that, and come down and keep our poise and patience on the other end.
Seems like you'll have a better time tomorrow if Edie is not allowed to hit Kofi in the head. Have you had any assurances from the commissioner's office about improved officiating?
I'm not going to go assurances, but we're going to get good officiating, and we need obviously Kofi to be Kofi, and everybody to be on point. So we'll go to battle, and Kofi will be just fine.
I guess what I mean by that is when Ed Hightower came to observe things, did you feel that it was a satisfactory process?
Yeah. I think that whatever the commissioner has his role being right now, I think that we've got guys that are going to do a great job.
Thanks, Brad.
Brad, I want to ask you about Andre Cabello, because it feels like this would have been a really difficult process, even coming back, playing 12 minutes the last couple of games. Seems like from our vantage point, he's been nothing but a great teammate. So how has he handled that process, and how does that help you as a coach?
Fabulous. I mean, incredible. We've had conversations. It's to say it's been easy for him. It's been anything but that. It's been extremely hard. It's been extremely frustrating. You don't, as an elite athlete performing at this level, you don't go 2+ months and do nothing. You don't lift weights, you don't walk on a treadmill, you don't do anything. And, so you have a certain level of physicality. All of our guys are gaining strength, and their maxes are higher during the season than they are out of the season. We lift every day. That affects conditioning at a really high level. He wasn't allowed to do anything, guys, for 2 months. And, now our games have happened so rapidly that, we're not, and it's February, we're not in full practice mode. So all his stuff, a lot of his stuff is being handled on his own in terms of with Fletch and conditioning and getting that back. We don't want to put him out there to be unsuccessful and have that hurt our team. He's been incredible. He's been engaged. He's been watching extra film. He's been putting in all the extra work. and trying as diligently as he can to not just be a great teammate, but to get back where he's he can play sustainable minutes. And the first Purdue game, the game played out different. And I played him a lot. He was exhausted, and he got through that. But then COVID sets in, and now it's another 9 days off, and it's been a trying process for him. But man, I've been really pleased with him as a teammate. He acts like another coach. And it's just a matter of him getting back and being able to perform for sustained periods of time.
What do you think keeps him from, some guys might get frustrated, might take it out some way. Like, what do you think keeps him from acting like that?
Winner. He is a winner. That kid is ultra competitive and wants to win. And you see that on the sidelines. You see that in practice. He's that guy in every drill. So, that motivates him.
Thanks, Brad.
Coach, what makes this Purdue team so difficult to guard without fouling? I mean, it was an issue in the game in Champaign with Kofi getting in foul trouble and Jaden Ivey getting to the line 15 times.
Well, he's the Ja Morant of college basketball. I mean, there's probably not an athlete in the country at his level. He's downhill a lot. He's and then you throw two big guys that are very, very talented in the post, and it's hard to keep them off the line. I thought there were some calls that we didn't get the first half in the first game, on him, where he just, but he got him. They were the aggressor. They're very aggressive offensively, but it's something you got to do is try to keep them, not commit senseless fouls.
What's different about Purdue than what you saw in Champaign, and what's different about your team right now?
Well, I think they're giving the ball to Jaden a lot more. Obviously, I think that they're at home. They shoot the ball better at home, almost to the man. But Ivey's playing in a lot more of just middle ball screens and letting him go and create and get in the paint. But they're who they are. They're exceptional in transition. That's a big key always when you go on the road, is trying to minimize that. That's easier said than done. We've got to get. I thought we got good looks, especially early in the game, and just didn't make many. But you can't commit silly mistakes, and we did that in the first game. And every mistake we made, they made a 3 on.
Thank you.
Hi, Brad. Ayo Dosunmu was just named to the NBA Rising Stars game. What do you think has been the key to his rapid development at the NBA level? Because, we saw he had a pretty fast learning curve when he was working under you in college. And I know you're very busy with your own season. You can't keep up with the NBA too much, but you also think he may have a chance at actually winning Rookie of the Year.
Sure. I don't ever discount Ayo from anything. And you don't, you're either born with or not, that competitive drive, and he has it, and that's been instilled. I think that, when you start looking, Billy's belief in him, his trust, and obviously Ayo's earned that. I look at DeMar DeRozan, as a guy who's taken Ayo under his wing. He's helped him. When that's your best player and you're taking a rookie under your wing, I think a lot of things have fallen into place there. But Ayo's going to do Ayo. Ayo's going to work. Ayo's going to compete. I didn't doubt that there was any question he would find his way to the court. He's deserving of the honor, and literally is, I think 14 assists the other night. And, somewhere along the line, I took his jumping ability away, but Now we're seeing him dunk on everybody. So, but he's just maturing. He's getting stronger. So, I've always said Io's best basketball will be in his mid-20s because his body will just continue to mature and he'll continue to work and get better.
And it's pretty rare to have two former Illini on an NBA roster, but with Malcolm Hill on the team, I mean, I know he was gone before you took over the program, but are you kind of familiar with his game at all? And I mean, he's
absolutely. Malcolm's been around here a lot, and comes back in the off season, uses our facilities, and you're talking about an elite scorer. You're talking about a guy who's really transformed his body in the last 3 or 4 years as a pro. Now he's a guy that they have a lot of confidence in on the defensive side. He's a knock him down shooter, and very, very happy. It's pretty cool to have two Illini playing on our state team.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. You guys have won 13 of 15 on the road in the Big Ten, and you talked about this a little bit on Saturday after the Indiana game. Is there something that you do strategically to prepare the team before going on the road, whether that's fake crowd noise in practice or other things along those lines?
No, I don't think there's a one-day fix or a one-day prep to get them ready for the road. I think it's an everyday grind, and it's our saying, everyday guys, and you have to stress them. I try to do that in practice. I try to make them uncomfortable. I try to challenge them in different ways. If they can't handle me, they're sure not going to handle a hostile crowd or an opponent that's really talented and executing. So it's an everyday deal. It's not a one-time, sure, we may, pump in some music every now and then, but it's not consistent. We do it every day, and we want our practices to be harder than our games.
And then you said in your first 2 years, you think you won, I think, one Big Ten road game, and that might've been the game at Maryland at Madison Square Garden. I don't know if you're specifically referring to that one or not, but when you think back,
that was a neutral site.
So you're not referring to that one?
No, at Ohio State.
Oh yeah, that was the IO jumper from the 3. Anyway, so you think back to the struggles that you had, and you talk about the long build to the success you had on the road now. Like, how hard was it to build to this success, or how exactly did you do it?
Well, there's no shortcuts to success, and I really believe that. And you have to hit the speed bumps. You have to identify what those are. You have to address those. We do that with being very, very honest, very critical of those situations. Try to learn from them, and then demand a little more than even they think they can give, and that they think they can do. Because obviously, when you're losing those games, it's not good enough, and so you've got to get them to a point where they believe, because of what they go through and how they do it, and how hard it is to win. And so it's not easy. It's experience a lot of times. Nobody wants to hear about losing. Nobody wants to tolerate it. Yet it's as big a part of the growth to winning as there is. And you have to have some of those experiences to know how to manufacture winning. And it just doesn't happen. And you have to grind on it. And freshmen have to learn. And the old cliche, best thing about freshmen is they become sophomores. Part of that reason is they've learned, they've got experience. And we went through all those speed bumps, and it's good players who have experience.
Brad, in the 50-minute game in Champaign, you were only able to go to Omar for 7 minutes. I know Ben had a really, really good 20 minutes, but if Purdue's going to still do that 20-minute timeshare with Edie and Williams, how important is it going to be to have an effective Omar for however many long you need him tomorrow night? Absolutely. We're going to need them all. And, Omar can give us some things athletically with his length. He did a really good job on Williams in particular, challenged a couple shots.
Ben is equally as important, with his strength. But we obviously don't want to play without Kofi for 30 plus minutes like we did in that 50-minute game. But again, those guys are vital, and they each do things a little bit differently, but they can all be successful, and it's hard work. It doesn't take just them. It takes the guys entering the passes and doing everything else to negate those guys.
Thank you, Brad.
So take me through first.
Hey, Brad, I know you've talked about just the benefit of the age and experience of this team, but where does that show up maybe on a day-to-day basis? I mean, what's different in practice with a bunch of 23 and 24-year-olds?
I didn't get either one of those. There was two guys talking. I don't know who was.
Can you hear me now, Brad?
Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I got you.
Just you talked about the benefit of having the age and experience on this team, but where does that show up on a day-to-day basis? Like what's different in practice with 23, 24-year-olds than maybe some of your younger teams?
Well, preparations is where it starts. And those guys get very solidified in the routines. We go through scouts a little bit quicker, a little easier with veterans. Sometimes with younger teams, you're hammering them home just to get 2 or 3 points across. You've got to go over and over it. With these guys, they've seen it. They know what's coming. They identify it. We can move on. Yet there's a certain intensity level with which they do things that translates. I'm not having to coach necessarily effort every single day like I did for 2+ years. These guys have established that. And so those guys benefit, the benefit of those guys every day is both physical and mental.
You've got 4 fifth-year guys in your starting lineup right now. Is that the most experience you've ever had in that particular group?
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the one thing that we've been able to I was old at SFA a couple times, but we did it differently. We did it, with some junior college kids and that. But these are guys that have been around us, and they've got the experience of being in our program. Obviously, Plum is new to that, but he's very cerebral, very smart. He's picked things up great, and even though Jake transferred, he's in year 3 with us. So it's been a real positive for us.
Brad, you said something along the lines on Saturday of not feeling the most comfortable when Jake isn't on the floor. What gives, I know you talked about him being California cool, but what gives you that confidence when he's out there?
Yeah, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's very, very assignment sound on both ends. You know exactly as a coach, there's tremendous trust with Jake. You know what you're getting, and that's something that's he doesn't ever get out of character. Very seldom does he get displaced from the moment of the game and get out of character. He's done it a couple times, but everybody does that. But for the most part, he's very much within himself.
Then I know you guys it doesn't appear to make any one game too big, but just given where you guys both are in the standings, given that first game in Champaign, is there anything more on this game?
That'd be great if it was our last game. Unfortunately, we have 7 more that will have some outcome into, or 6 more. I don't even know what we've got, 7 or 8 more. But no, I mean, it's a big game. It's 2 really good teams. They beat us. They play great. We all know where we're at, but we've all got a lot of basketball left to play.
Thanks, Brad.
Brad, just looking at Big Ten games, your scoring margin doubles from the first half to the second half. What could you attribute that to? For most part, you're able to put away teams in the second half and not have close games.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. That's something we're aware of. I don't know what the the reason is for that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I do a bad job at the start of practice and getting our guys going. And so it affects us in games. I don't know. I think we're, maybe we get a better feel for the other team. It could be a variety of things, but obviously in most games loosen up a little bit in the second half. But we better not start flat in this one or you're in trouble.
Well, I perhaps you see it that way. I wasn't necessarily implying you were starting flat. Just wondering if you feel like things are just at a different level when it comes to the second half.
No, I don't feel that. I think sometimes, we get, we figure out how teams scheme us, what they're doing. Most teams have done something different than they've done against us in the first time. So it takes us a little bit, you prepare for one thing and you see a little bit different. But that's, we make the adjustments at halftime and we're good. But no real explanation for it.
Thank you.
Brad, coach after playing your team says you have to pick your poison when you play Illinois. Is there a similar thought against Purdue, or is it stop Ivy? Is it double team the post? Is it watch Sasha? I mean, what's kind of the pick your poison when you defend Purdue?
You want to keep going? Keep them off the glass. That's why they're good. That's why that they're. I think there's simplistic things that you try to do, whether you can do them or not. You don't want to do it. You can't beat yourself against Purdue. They will make you pay. We made mistakes, in transition. We made a couple of mistakes trying to gamble, and it put us in harm's way, where they made a three. It's the little things. We didn't block out. They kick it out for a three. It's those things. When teams are really, really good, it's not, you're not going to take away everything they do. You're just not. And I think that's one of the things teams face with us. But you can't beat yourself and lose 50-50 balls and lose offensive rebounds and not block out on a free throw. And, those are all the things that come back to haunt you in a game with two really good teams. So we got to be rock solid there and know that we just have to make everything as difficult as we can.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, I know that Trent has been an instant off night for most guys that he's checked. Sasha's maybe been one of the few where that wasn't the case a couple of weeks ago. Was there anything you saw in that matchup that led to his success, and any maybe extra motivation for Trent to correct that one?
Yeah, we made some mistakes, and it wasn't just with Trent on him. It was quite the opposite. He hit a couple threes. He hit one in front of their bench in the second half. That was really, really deep. I think caught Trent off guard, but most of the rest of his threes weren't on him. You just can't fall asleep. You can't give Sasha 22 points. You've got to make him hard. He made shots at a very high level. And I thought that that was one of the more disappointing things about that game was we let him and he's a really good player. He's really hard to guard. I thought that we gave him too many uncontested. We had one play where we tried to gamble for a steal in the backcourt off a rebound and ran ourselves out of a play. He hits an uncontested three. Those are the plays you can't make against them. They make you pay. He plays in the trailer spot a lot, where he's one of the last ones down the floor. You've got to find him in transition. When Ivy drives, and then we just weren't very solid on him.
Thanks.
Coach, last time out, you guys shot quite a few threes, 33 threes. Is there an optimal number of three-pointers that you like to see, or is that just more of a flow of the game kind of thing?
Depends how many we're making. And that's very honest. If we're getting good shots, it's one of the things that the other night at Indiana. I mean, Plummer got 2 wide open looks in the corner. Jake missed one. Luke Goody missed one. Those are great shots for us. If they're good shots, I want to shoot the ball, and I don't get as concerned about the number as I do the quality of the shot and the balance. And it's the possessions of the game were up in that game. It was a double overtime game. I by tendency don't like to shoot as many on the road. But, we also played 30 minutes in that game without Kofi. So that had some impact on that as well.
Hey, Brad, if I could get one more about Jake. When did do you remember, I guess, about when that trust was built with you that you had this confidence? I'm assuming probably at some point last year, but how did he kind of go about doing that? And roughly when did that come to be?
Yeah, it was kind of mid-season last year. I didn't play him a lot first semester. And, he just kind of kept plugging away and doing his deal and never complained. And all of a sudden he becomes really solid and sound. He kind of kicked the rust off his sit out year, and was back into flow. And he was doing a lot of little things that I remember thinking at the time and watching film. He's doing a lot of little things that were really important: cutting, rebounding, passing, let alone making shots. So there's a lot of little things, but I think it was mid-year last year that I felt like, okay, this guy's really going to help us be a good player.
Thank you.
All right, that will wrap us up with Coach. Stand by. I'll have Jake on here in a minute.
Thanks, guys.
All right, are we good? Can you hear me okay? Transition. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Jake, Brad shared with us after the Indiana game that he got an apology from Bo Borowski about a missed call in that game, and it made me wonder if there are any officials that have communicated with you during the game about how they're calling it or why, and if any of that stands out to you.
Maybe a little bit. I try not to talk to refs really. I feel like it's separate from the players' game in a way. I really don't communicate more, or I'll ask them if they called something on me, like what I did or how to do it differently, but I don't really get too invested in missed calls. It happens. Just keep the energy moving forwards and on to the next play, really.
Yeah, I assume that their individual names, because of course it's always taped up right next to the bench and the picture and stuff, but nobody stands out as being particularly communicative.
No, I do notice. I don't know all their names really. I really don't invest energy into it. But I do see Bo, communicating with Underwood. I hear what Underwood says about him. I don't know. Like I said, that's not my thing, as you probably would guess.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Jake. It's pretty rare to have 2 former Illini on the same NBA roster, and then to have it obviously with the home state team. So I wanted to ask you just quickly your thoughts on, Ayo Dosunmu was the NBA Rising Stars game. What do you think's been the key to his rapid rise? Do you think maybe he could win Rookie of the Year? And then my second one is about Malcolm Hill. Coach said that he comes around the program a lot. He's been around. Have you had a chance to really interact with him? And what do you see in his game?
To answer your first question, playing with Ayo and being on the same team with him for 2 years, definitely things that stand out is that he's always been pro ready. I've heard him say that Illinois really prepared him well defensively, since we run the same coverage as the Bulls and the Bucks when we guard ball screens and all that. And that's really true. At the end of the day, when I first came here, I really didn't know anything about defense at all. Played zone at Holy Cross. Coming here and now I'm picking up things and learning a lot of things. I see how that can translate to the next level. And like I said, Ayo's a pro and he takes basketball really seriously. So I'm not in any way surprised that he's having success. And, I feel like Illinois has something about it with, just players being gritty and going against adversity. They didn't take Io until middle of the second round, or, he was slept on still after everything he did in some way. But, that didn't phase him, and he just kept chopping wood and kept doing his thing. So I'm super proud of him. I know he's handling his business. I'm not worried about him at all. But like I said, super proud of him. And then to answer your second question, I personally don't know Malcolm too much. I saw him play at the TBT. We all went out there in Peoria when they played. So honestly, I haven't watched him too much. But again, against odds, he somehow found a way to make a NBA roster. And I think that just again says something about Illinois and just being tough and not giving up. He was in the G League, played overseas, but just stayed on the right path and has found success working hard.
Thanks, Jake.
Hey, Jake, this is obviously a big game for a variety of reasons, but one of the things here that Brad mentioned was you really can't make a mistake against Purdue, or they take advantage of you. How do you relish that as an athlete going into a game where you maybe have to be closer to perfect than against any other team?
Well, the way I see it is that they got us the first time. Looking back at the film and all the meetings that we've had, we didn't really play that great of a game, but we were still in the game. And now we have another opportunity, 40 minutes to play, as close to a perfect game as we can. This game last time went to 2 overtimes, I think, right? Which means that there were, 3 separate chances where we were, head and head. So we make one less mistake in either regulation or the first overtime. And we could have won the game. We had plenty of opportunities to win that game. So going into it, more confident that we kind of know what to expect and kind of have seen where our mistakes were and ways that we can be better. And, life doesn't give you too many second chances. So we appreciate the second chance to go out and come out victorious.
And from an outsider standpoint, it was a high-level game. It was an entertaining game. Do you look back on a game like that, win or lose, or in the moment, do you feel it like this is a really good game? And is it more rewarding to be in a game like that?
A little confused by the question. I would say that, all these games are somewhat, big games. We just played Indiana, 17,000 people. The game starts and you kind of can feel the atmosphere like, oh yeah, we're here. This is a big game. But you try to eliminate that and just focus on, the things that are your assignment in a way. Just doing the things that you practice every day. I'd say it's hard. I feel like you can get really caught up in, the atmosphere sometimes, especially at a away game, and it can break you. And I think we do a really good job of that on the road, just kind of going upstream into that, energy coming at us. So I kind of understand what you're asking now, but I personally don't see it in that exact way.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Jack, I kind of wanted to take you back to your sit out year when you were just practicing with the team. Can you think back to maybe how Coach Underwood and the rest of the staff and the players prepared for road games? Because that's kind of when you guys started to have a little bit more success on the road as a program.
I think that can tie into a lot of things. Yesterday, we started practice. Coach asked us, what does adversity mean? And everyone had their answers. And, adversity is it's a part of life, and it gives you an opportunity to grow. And I think that has kind of been, like I was saying earlier about Io and Malcolm, is just, an away game adds a little bit more adversity to it. And culturally, our program kind of leans into that, and we kind of accept it and like the challenge of that kind of environment. What was it? I forget the second part of your question. If you had like a little add on to it.
No, you got the first part. I guess a follow-up that I have is you guys are a roster full of 22, 23, 24-year-olds. Do you guys almost not notice, I guess, how loud it gets on the road, or how do you handle it when you go into a stadium and it gets loud, but you guys are just experienced. You seem to not get fazed by it, I guess.
Yeah, we got a bunch of vets. We got some cool, calm, collected guys. We got, me, Trent, Monte, Kof, Plum. All these guys are, older. We like, I don't know. It just doesn't matter. Like we don't really care about. Like we were at the end of the game, we were kind of just chuckling at the Indiana fans because they were so loud and they're, a great fan section and. They're chanting air ball and you gotta, imagine having 10,000 people screaming air ball at you. And it's, it can fluster someone, but it just really, only thing that matters is the 5 guys on the court, the 10 guys on the bench and the 4, 5, 6 coaches. And it's just us, it's just Illinois out there. We're a family. We got each other's backs. I throw the ball to Kofi, he kicks it out. I miss it. He gets a foul and I'm clapping my hand like, dang, I missed it. And Kofi's like, bro, you're chilling. And same thing goes for Trent. Same thing goes for my things. Same thing goes for Plummer, where, nothing can penetrate our circle.
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Jake, with all of that age and experience, how are things just maybe different on a day-to-day basis or in practice compared to maybe when you've been on teams that didn't have maybe all of that?
One thing I'm noticing now is we're really, really locked in. Yesterday we had practice for not too long of just a detailed day. And then we were, our group was in the film room for probably like hour and a half, just watching film, just all locked in. We have the same goals. We understand what's at hand. We just, we're just locked in. We're ready to do this thing and ready to do it for each other.
What's it like being on a team with a bunch of 22 to 24-year-olds? I mean, maybe Brad said it's more than he'd ever had, certainly.
It's definitely calming. Basketball is a game of runs and storms get thrown at you, and it's just about how you weather them. So never in any point during a game do I get a sense of defeat from the team. No matter how much time is left, we're never beaten. While the game is still going, and I think that has to do with age and just experience. Just get more stops and keep executing, and it calms everyone down and allows us to be able to think and execute better.
Thanks, Jake.
Hey, Jake, on Saturday, Brad talked about just maybe not being the most comfortable when you're not out there on the floor. It seems like pretty high praise. How do you feel like you cultivated that trust with him over the last few years?
Just being here, I've developed a relationship with everyone here, and I've gone through the process of developing that trust with Underwood, which not to I never try to toot my own horn, but just trusting the process and leaning into coaching. Underwood's an intense coach, but once you kind of understand him and see what he's talking about, getting the message rather than the tone, it kind of opens up yourself. And I think I've gotten a lot better being coached by Coach Underwood, and I like hearing that he trusts me out there. It feels good to know that your coach likes you out there, and I try to do everything I can, and I understand not my role, but kind of like my job, and I understand my presence on the court. I think that when I hit the 2 threes in a row, it broke open the game. And to me, that kind of told me about what happens when I do the things that I'm supposed to do. You know, I shot the ball, and then Thompson had to, you know, kind of leave the paint and left Kofi open. So, you know, our team isn't just one person, two person, three person, you know, it's a collective effort. And I try to do everything I can. And I know what to do, and I try to do it every time to help this team be its best.
He talked about not playing you as much. I guess you didn't play as much in that first semester last year. Like, then you got in that starting lineup late. What'd you do? I mean, was it like the little things and just kind of showing an appreciation for whatever role you needed, or what do you feel like you did in that stretch to kind of earn this moving forward?
Well, last year I kind of just leaned into, well, first I had to figure out what I needed to do to get on the court. And once I figured that out, I kind of just embraced it. I was a completely different player in terms of my role last year. Last year, all I was focused on was guarding and getting the offensive rebound, and whatever came after that was great. And then through that, I just gained the confidence and the experience to play at this level. And then, you know, this year it's kind of just naturally shifted towards more so just hooping and being free. And I know, you know, my certain assignments of what I need to do, but just trusting the process, you know, not getting phased by not playing, you know, just being level-headed, just grinding and work ethic and a whole bunch of little things.
Thanks, Jake. Really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jake, there was a point in the Indiana game where the threes weren't dropping early with Alfonso missed a couple on one possession. You missed a couple, and Trent, but you didn't give up on it. Still a lot of confidence. Where does that just keep letting it fly mentality come from? And is that something that the coaching staff encourages?
Yeah, I mean, I got no problem letting it fly. Trust me. But there was a couple opportunities where I didn't shoot the ball. You know, I kind of just got subbed in. I had 2 bad turnovers early, 2 fouls early, but I knew that I was still, you know, in a good space. Mentally, I stayed engaged in the game. And like I said, I came in and I was, you know, trying to just get a flow going, a feel going, and I didn't shoot a couple of, you know, kind of open shots. And there was a media timeout, and like I had everyone yelling at me for not shooting the ball. So I just kind of, you know, screw it. Like, all right, bet I'm gonna shoot it. I got no problem shooting it. And you know, luckily my teammates and my coaches instilled the confidence in me that, you know, I already have, but just reinforced it. It told me to go out there and keep shooting. And I just was like, all right, bet I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna shoot it. And good things happened.
Seems like